Hi, I'm not ethnic, gay, gorgeous or speak with a funny accent, but like most people, other than those condemned to death, I do need to eat. I'm going to do comfort food. Food that satisfies, relaxes and confirms the inner bigot. Food that after a hard day at the office allows you to cope with the fact that nobody can stand you. Potato, broccoli and mushroom casserole. Like most great dishes, and even average and essentially tasteless ones like potato, broccoli and mushroom casserole, their success depends on the quality of the ingredients. Succulent broccoli, rounded wholesome potatoes and mushrooms grown in the very best of well, you know what I mean. And to be true to the food's ethnic and cultural heritage, where do we get these best ingredients from? That's right, the shop. And make sure you take your green eco-friendly bags. Don't waste time choosing, they're all the same anyway, green and broccoli-ish. And what would you or I know anyway? Round and potatoey. And mushroomy to boot. Mushroom soup for the essence of mushroom. Check the expiry date. Yes, it's expired, we'll save 50 cents here. Le fromage pour le roux. That's cheese for the sauce for you, Alex. And frozen peas. We must have frozen peas in the mushroom and broccoli casserole. Why? Because they're dreadful in the pavlova, which I'm going to do for afters. So, before we start cooking, get organised, get opened, get prepared. This avoids all sorts of dreadful mistakes. Like this, wrong cheese. There we go, that's better. So we're prepared. We have the grater, the whisk, the utensils, a glass of wine for the chef, for the joie de vivre of haute cuisine, the wind in your hair, the thrill of the chase, these fine ingredients running through my fingers to turn this into something even edible. So off we go. Let's get organised. A few bowls to make sure we don't have anything lost. There is rather a lot of ingredients here. Move the wine out of the way, we mustn't spill that. Firstly, let's pass the broccoli into lots of little bits that will float around in the sauce, which we are yet to make. Make sure you cut it correctly. Cutting it correctly is very important because if the lumps are too big, you get lumpiness. So it says one done already, so we'll put this in its own broccoli bowl over here, like this. I'm not quite sure how much we'll need. In fact, look, there's a few too big lumps there, so let's go back. I'll just make these small. It makes it less dainty cooking. There's great big lumps in there that you can't get out, so at some stage you might have to go back to your bowl and say, look, that lump's a tad too big. So that's one broccoli done, and we'll go to another one here just in case. You can never have too much broccoli. Well, actually you can often have far too much broccoli, but we won't today. Now, boiling the potatoes, we'll have to pause here because these are obviously not boiled. We'll cut them up into quarters, which is good if you're trying to learn maths. There you go, cutting them up into quarters. We've got to have a lot of potatoes because we've got a fairly big bowl here, and it's the potatoes that provide the cap for the meal, that sit on top and give it a lot of its wholesome heartiness. There we go, cutting them up, you cut them into quarters and they boil a lot quicker, which is good for the meal and good for the polar bears. Right, more potatoes, over here to the potatoes bag, and we'll cut them a bit more. There we go, look at that. Now, one of the ways to know if you do have enough potatoes is to count them, but we haven't got time for that, so we'll just pop them in a saucepan and see what happens. There we go, up here. This usual potato saucepan, whack them in like this, and even slide them in. That makes me look more professional every minute. Keep the skins on because that's where the vitamins are, and I'm a lazy soul. So we'll add a bit of water. You must boil potatoes in water. Boiling them without water, not on. I've seen it done and they're all black and crunchy. Over to the stove here. Oh, look at this stove. Cleaned it yesterday, it's magnificent. Right, bit of gas. There we go, and put the lid on, because again it boils quicker, good for the polar bears. Mushrooms much the same way. You can cut these a little bit larger because they do tend to shrivel as they go. The mushrooms give it added texture, give it a sort of spongy form texture, which goes well with the hard woodiness of overripe broccoli, which if it is too ripe, you can just cook it for longer. That usually fixes the problem. So cutting them up like this, as I said, this meal is known for having problems over the years, one of them being this often that it's absolutely inedible. But we'll put them there in the bowl. There we go there. Now over to the fridge. Follow me over to the fridge there, cameraman, and we'll just look in here. What have we got? What have we? Yes, here we go. Frozen peas. You must have frozen peas. They're wonderful little devils there, aren't they? They provide a little bit of geometric difference to the meal. I think geometric difference, yeah, otherwise it gets boring if all your meal's square or corner or shaped like a muffin. Empty them in here. There you go. Look at that. Oh, lovely little fellows. Alright, put these back in the fridge because they're expensive. Okay, back in there with all the other mistakes. Okay, now we're almost ready now just to stand around and have another couple of glasses of wine as we wait for the potatoes to boil. Cheers. Cheese, an essential ingredient for meals like potato, broccoli and mushroom casserole that at the very best tend to be bland. It's also part of the meal I like the most, bending a supplicant young dairy product to the will of my finely honed steel. Right, let's see if they're ready. Yep, see the way that slides through? Yep, that's definitely ready. Okay, mashing time. We go into the mashing bowl. That one tried to escape. Right, here we go, watch this. Right, now we're going to turn all of that into a potato, broccoli and mushroom casserole. Let's combine. Broccoli, put it in until, well, it's covering the bottom of the bowl. And as I say, you should have enough of that. Right, now we put in some of the essence de la mushroom. Put it all, spread it around a bit. Right, now stir, blend it in a bit, stir, examine, stir. There we go. Pat, examine, yes, that's looking good. Mushrooms, so we put the mushrooms in too, same technique, nothing delicate about it. And more mushroom essence. Oh, look at that, wonderful. And stir, you've got to pat it down because you don't want the air getting in there, it dilutes the flavour. Stir, oh yes, round and round a bit, because this will all blend down into a lovely pie-like filling. Right, little spherical round vegetables are always important. Pop them in, they're just about thawed out, and stir. Round and round and round we go, round, blend them in. Now what have we got too much of there? Probably nothing at all. See how much potato? That's got to spread over the top, so I think we've got room for a little bit more mushroom. There we go, just a splash more mushroom. Superb. Stir and press. Press it down inside, not too much air. Right, now just a sprinkle of cheese in there never hurts, so we're going to put some of that on the top as well. And now stir or press, round and round and round we go. Keep it level because we don't want it bubbling and escaping. The important part now, let's put the cap on. The creamy potato. Give it with a good flick of the wrist, that always helps. There we go, splosh it right in, and it looks like, just for this once, I've got the amount of potato right. This is probably the first time ever. Usually I'm thinking, damn, I should have put one more potato in there. And I'll be wandering around looking for the bits that fly out because we're short. But look, I've certainly got the potato right this time. Now, pat it down a bit, very important. Get it off your spoon. Nothing need to waste potato really. Then get your fork and artistically move this around like this. Macerate it, I think it's called. Well, I made that up. Perhaps it's not macerated. But this gives you the crunchiness on top. There we go. Round and round. Beautiful, beautiful. Right, now you see this? This is now ready to go in the oven at approximately 180 degrees. Right, and here we go into the oven. Oh, and one last thing, it's good to put a little bit of cheese on the top, especially if you've got some left over, which you usually will have. There you go, just scamper it around on the top, because it gives you that crunchy brownness, and into the oven. Now, the oven set time, possibly 20 minutes, possibly 30 minutes. In she goes. There we go. Wonderful. So we'll see how it all comes out. Oh, it's going to be great. Look at that.